Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama. I am so excited. I have Tiffany here today, a Disney travel expert. So, this is for all my Disney fans. Tiffany, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I am Tiffany Cifredella. I live in New Jersey with my husband and three little boys, and I am the owner of Daydream Adventures Travel Company. We are a focused family travel agency, and we like to make magical itineraries so that families can focus on making magical memories.
Oh my gosh. Okay, coming from a once Disney travel expert to another, it is probably hands down one of the funnest jobs. It really honestly was. What inspired you to start the Magic Making Mama?
So, really, I am a Disney family since I was a little girl. We've gone to Disney a couple times, but my oldest son's first trip, he was 2.5. And this is how bad I was. We just walked into Main Street and I didn't even realize a parade was going to be coming down. Like, that's how unprepared I was for my first trip. So, a parade is coming towards us. My husband grabs my oldest, puts him on his shoulders, and he sees Mickey, and I just start crying because that excitement, and I still have goosebumps just talking about it now. Just that pure magic, like that is Mickey Mouse. And the music's going, and everyone's cheering, and I wave like a crazy person to Mickey and Minnie. So it was just from that moment, I was hooked. And then we just started going more and more, and I couldn't get enough. And it just snowballed from there.
Oh my goodness. I need to say this because I hate when I see, oh, Disney people, blah 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 blah. There is something, and I feel like you can agree with me. There is something about going on Main Street. And this is what I have come to realize because I did a lot of like, why is this so fun for me? And I think it's because it's the one place in the world, one, I get to see my kids light up because they're looking at their favorite characters in the whole entire world.
Mhm.
And two, because I literally get to be a kid again. There's no work. There's no, life calling me. I get to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I watched this growing up. Like, it's just nostalgic.
Yeah. And I think too, it's hard to understand unless you've been there.
Uh-huh.
And it sounds crazy, I admit.
Huh.
Disney is a family vacation.
It really is.
You ask any one of my boys, we always do, we call it peach and pit, best part, worst part of day, and then vacation. It is always family time. We were in Disney, we were riding every ride, we saw everything you could see. It was that we were with our family. And I think it's just when you enter that Disney bubble,
Uh-huh.
there are no responsibilities. There are no phone, except for me, because I'm booking lightning lanes. There's no distractions. It is pure family, making memories, focus on each other. And it's the simple memories, too. It doesn't have to be meeting Mickey. My son's memory from that trip when he was 2.5 was eating a frozen banana and watching fireworks. And still, he's 7 years old and he remembers that part. So it's those little tiny magic moments that you just can't get anywhere else besides Disney.
100%. 100%. And like, There it's just so true, and any moms that are listening, like, I wanna hear your first experience. Like, once I post this episode, like, come and tell us, what was your first experience of watching your kids light up? Like, watching them for the first time. It is such magic. There's literally no other way to describe it, which is why I think your name is so perfect because you are creating magic for these families. It's fantastic.
Favorite tip is when you walk into Magic Kingdom for the very first time, your kid's very first time, do not look at the castle. Put your phone on them, look at them, and watch their reaction. And it is,
Uh,
you can't, there's no way to describe it. It is pure magic.
I love it. Chills, absolute chills. And it's just so true. I feel like anybody that's listening that's been there, you know the magic that we're talking about. It's so like you just can't explain it. It's just magic. Now, you just said that the first time you ever went, you had
Yep.
no idea what you were doing. You had no idea that there was a parade. How did this happen from going from a parade to, hey, there's a parade at 2, there's a parade at 7? How did that
Yep.
work?
So when I went for that first trip, I was pregnant with my second, who was born March of 2020. And then I had a lot of time on my hands. And I was in my little bubble and I was planning a big first birthday. I felt safe going to Disney. They had a ton of restrictions in place. And that kind of felt like that was our way of coming out. So we were going to celebrate his first birthday. We were going to go big. And I had nothing else to do besides plan and plan and plan. And I really kind of tapped into this, what I call beyond the rides of Disney. And yes, Disney is great with rides and parades and shows, but there is so much to do without ever setting foot on a ride.
Mhm.
And so I really looked at that and what can you do with babies and what can you do with toddlers and older? And we brought my in laws, so, grandparent generation. How do you make everyone have a magical moment? And then we went and it was amazing. And we just kept going. So each little trip I planned more and more. And it just kind of snowballed into this obsession with figuring out how to do more in the parks in an efficient way, what you could do in the parks. I love researching hidden gems and, not so well known facts about Disney and really creating an itinerary where I say, we go with the flow, but I know if I happen to be over in this section of park, oh, here's three things and here's a little factoid about this part. And just, there's just so much information to consume and I love it.
I honestly, like, I stand by when I say you'll never have the same Disney trip twice. You just won't. There's too many things to do, to be a part of. They're constantly changing, all the festivals. Like, you'll never have the same Disney trip twice. I know we have it, and we
Yeah.
go every year, if not twice a year. And for us, it's just such an experience every time. I feel like, it's not the same, and it's not. Some people are like, oh, how do you go every year? How do you not? That's my response back. How do you not go
It's
over here?
funny. Saying that, so we went when my middle son was 1, and I planned a good solid 9 months for that trip.
Yeah.
And then I was pregnant, or I got pregnant with that Disney magic. My 3rd son was born 9 months later, and I had to go back to work, and my maternity leave was ending, and my travel agent, because I used a travel agent back then, sent me this tiny little Mickey as a, like, welcome baby gift. And I looked at my husband and I said, "I wanna go to Disney." It was President's Day weekend. And he was like, what do you mean you want to go to Disney? And I said, I think we could pack up the car. Like, let's go. And we packed up the car in 6 hours and we were on our way to Florida.
Oh my god.
So to go from like 9 months of planning to 6 hours and we're on the road with, he was only 6 weeks at the time, 3 other little boys. It was a crazy, but also just as magical as the other trips because it was our first time we were all 5 of us. And, there's just always special moments no matter how you plan, if it's spur of the moment or, you spend months trying to plan out every perfect detail.
Oh my gosh. That is so sweet. That is so sweet.
A little crazy, but
I mean, me and my husband literally talked about it today in the car, which is so funny that tonight was your interview. We were talking about it in the car. And he turned to me and he was like, I think like one day, we should just like pick up the kids on the last day of school and just go. He's like, no
that's what
planning.
kids
We'll
are
see what's
for.
open,
Yep.
whatever. And in my mind, I'm like, no planning. Like, we're going to have no dining. We're not, because if you're not planning, like, it's like, okay, it is what it is. It's going to just happen. But it's so funny that you said that because now I'm like, oh, maybe we will do that one year. I don't know.
Mhm.
But okay, so I want to get something squared away right off the bat. So you own Daydream Adventure Travel Co. Now, it's different than being an agent because you actually own the agency. Can you explain the difference between those two?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways you can be a travel agent. So one of them is through a host agency, which would be as if you had a parent account. So the host agency is who has the relationship with the vendors. So Disney, Universal, Royal Caribbean Cruise, and you would work underneath them. In that situation, you would typically pay the host agency a sign up fee or initiation training fee, and then you would split your commission with them. Now, host agencies do a various split. Some are 50-50, some are 70-30. It depends. There are thousands of host agencies. So that's one way to be an agent. And then the other way is to be independent. So I started with a host agency and then I went independent last year.
Amazing. Now, why did you make the jump from being with a host agency that, probably had a whole bunch of background of things that you can use and utilize to being by yourself?
So I have a background in sales. I am a career salesperson and I really like sales, not because of the sales part. I actually don't like being a salesperson. I say I am an account manager. I'm a relationship builder. I am not a slimy salesperson. So when I joined the host agency, they were great at being automated and really knowing how to book a lot of clients, and people were making a ton of money, but it was just not aligned with my sales beliefs. So I really like to focus on the relationship. I want to know you, and why is Brittany going to Disney? What do you want to accomplish? Anyone can book a Disney vacation. You can go through Sam's Club. You can go through the website directly. Why would they come to you? And so it really took a matter of like stepping back and seeing, what am I offering my customers with this host agency when I am supposed to just turn out client one after the other and get these huge sales goals? It just wasn't sitting well with me, and it really wasn't what I believed I wanted to do and how to help people. And going back to the very root of, I am a planner, I know the details, I know all the knowledge, I want to share that with people. And so I decided I needed to go out on my own, where I would have the freedom to be able to do that and not pressure people to purchase a vacation, and really do things the way I wanted to be done.
Yeah, I love it. And for everybody listening, if you're on the fence of becoming a travel agent or if you're on the fence of hiring a travel agent, here is the kicker. You pay nothing. Nothing out of pocket to a travel agent. So like if you go and call Tiffany tomorrow, it costs you $0 to call her because Disney is going to pay her. And even if you went directly online on Disney's website and booked a trip, that money's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter and it's not out of pocket, which is what I love. And I think it's something that I feel like the more you guys are listening to me, about the Money Hungry Mama. Travel agents don't cost you anything, which is incredible. I love it. So now, okay, let's just say your best month,
Yep.
what were some marketing techniques that played into that?
Truthfully, the best month I've had has been because of referrals. And that is what makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside,
I love it.
because that means I'm doing a good job.
Mhm.
Anyone can cash a paycheck, anyone can sell a trip, anyone can, make commission on a trip. But it's when someone that you sent said, I had such an amazing time and it was because of Tiffany. You need to work with her. That is just like, money can't buy that.
Oh my gosh, so true, so true. And I think that is something that's so important to note. Yeah, it might take a little bit to get your business off the ground. What business doesn't? But when you do leave these lasting impressions, you do get referrals. I mean, that's how I survived for the 2 years that I did it. It was all of the referrals that were coming in because eventually you're going to kind of stop marketing if it's something that you're kind of veering back from. And then all of a sudden it's referrals. And I do love that your own trip can go towards it too. So, like, if
Yeah,
you book it under yourself, it's kind of like you're paying yourself back for going on a trip, which
exactly. That's what I always say. It's free Disney money.
yeah, Disney money. Yeah, that's what I used to call it. Yeah, I love it so much. So, let's go a little bit more into going to Disney. Let's give some of these tips out. So, you focus on must-do Disney activities and experience. How do you curate these recommendations for your families?
So I did take some time, and this does go back to my host agency and seeing how they built out and what I liked and what I didn't like. And one of the things that I did like was really having an organized system. So I use Trello, which I love because you can have as many, it's basically post-its
Yeah.
all over the place. So I like to start out by doing a survey. So basic questions like, is this your first time? What are your priorities? Are you ride and park play all day? Are you a little relaxation? Is it mixed in? And really try to get an understanding. My favorite is when it's, oh, it's a birthday and we're celebrating. Great. You don't even know of all the birthday things that can happen. Like, you don't just have to go to the park, or first trips are amazing too. So I really try to get an understanding of like, why are you going on this vacation? And then see, what can we do? Okay, so you've been to these parks before. Have you tried this? Here are some tips. But I really think the value that I provide most is in the resources. So I have put a lot of time and research into creating different, I call my park guides. So I have a guide and it's on my website in our client portal, but here's the Magic Kingdom. Here's every ride you need, every restaurant you need to know about, I call it little magic moments or enchanting extras that you can do in the park. and go through and check off, what do you want to do? And then let's build that itinerary together so that you don't have like, okay, we have to do A, B, and C. You've got 30 other things. If it's raining, go to something else.
Yeah.
So I really like to give a lot of options and just have people aware of what they could do, and then they can build their vacation out so that it fits them.
For sure, for sure. I think, one of the saddest moments I've ever seen at Disney was I saw a family, definitely foreign from out of the country, go to be our guest. And that is a restaurant in Magic Kingdom. And they asked for a table and they had no idea you had to have a reservation like months in advance.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart because, for some people, this really honestly is a once in a lifetime trip.
Yep.
And it just was like, I know that that family was definitely one of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, that killed me to that,
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know until you're there. And then all of a sudden, like, you didn't know there was a parade that was going to come up Main Street. And it's just like, oh man, I just wish I can scream from the rooftops. Like, you have to look at the app. Like,
Yeah.
just look. It breaks my heart for sure. Now, traveling with kids can absolutely be daunting. And I know I've encountered people that had miserable times at Disney. What are your top tips for parents who are planning a Disney trip with young children?
So I always say we have our must do list, and our would like to do.
Love it.
You have like three must do things. Mine is always fireworks, parade, and a ride. For me, it's
Yep.
always it's a small world. The boys will pick, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin or something else. Everything else is, wow, this was a great day.
For sure.
And I'm telling you, you can get like 10 things done. But if you focus on just three things and everything else is extra, it's just more positivity to your trip. Where if you start out with a list of 20 rides you want to get on and you only make it through the first five and you're looking at, okay, we didn't get to this, instead of just switching the narrative and, wow, we got to do this many, things and rides and experiences. So I think it's always best to go in with low expectations and be surprised at what you get done.
For sure. And it's honestly, guys, too, it's because the park is so big. There's so many things to do. And it's, you know, when you're doing this, like my husband and I, what we do is that we actually put it in our notes on our phone and we'll look at the app the night before and be like, okay, what's a must rides? What's our must food try? What's our must character meet? Because the app's going to show you what characters are going to be there. So it's like, okay, let's plan it out and then I'll check it off as we're going. And then at the end of the day, we look at it and be like, we did pretty good. We got like 7 out of 10. That was great, you know? So I love that mindset and I love that, you're building your clients up to know these things prior to going, for sure.
I really like that. And this kind of, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but for other agents, what I was surprised at most is the amount of tools that we can use for minimal money and investment. I started this with a very small investment of my personal money, and I said, I'm not doing anything else until I make commission. So for my CRM, I found one that is amazing and it's $5 a month. Yes, I can afford that with one trip's commission, that's nothing. But using the tools you have, I have this itinerary builder and I can put in, here's the characters and the times where they're located, here's parades, and it's just a website. And I send the link to customers and they can look at everything. So those tools are at your disposal. It takes a little time to research and find the ones, but there is no reason, if you're just starting out, that you're paying for like a HubSpot. You
Yeah.
don't need anything like that. So start small, and really just take advantage of everything that's out there, because you don't have to make everything from scratch. There are tools that are amazing and helpful.
For sure. For sure. I love this pivot because we were, talking before. Can you explain what is a CRM for anybody that's listening that does?
Yeah, so a CRM is a customer relationship management system. So, for instance, for my CRM, I have all of my clients' profiles. So, things like favorite characters, because I always like to send like the kids a little goodie, their birthdays, that's obviously customer retention and customer service, and their address. So, I can mail them park maps and things like that. I also have a credit card, and that's getting into the nitty gritty of a business, credit card authorization forms, and being PCI compliant is a rabbit hole that I wasn't prepared for going down originally. So it holds all of that information in a secure system because if you were to ever be audited, you can't have just a Google sheet with everybody's credit card numbers. So a CRM system is really something that holds all the information. And then depending on what system you have, there's different tools. So for instance, the one I went with, it has an itinerary builder, like I said, a personal website builder that I can put all the information and share it with clients. And this different service providers offer different platform or different capabilities.
Sure. Is Travel Joy a CRM?
It is.
Okay.
Yep. It's a really good one that people use a lot. It was just more expensive, so I didn't go
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for anybody listening, Travel Joy was the one that I had experience with, and it was super user friendly.
Mhm.
So for sure. Okay, that was, so valuable information because, there's so many rules and regulations. And I feel like if you're looking into doing this, Tiffany, would you say it's better to try to go your own route and be your own agent? Or do you think maybe everybody should try to find a host agency first?
So I think it depends on what your end goal is. If you just want to help some people get to Disney, you want a little bit of a discount and you want to make some money on the side, you could work with a host agency. The host agencies are wonderful for that. If you want to expand and really have your own business and your own freedom to do what you want, then I would say be independent. And it's just how you set up originally. So, for instance, the first thing I did was create an LLC. Now I'm learning it's helpful with taxes and things like that. But really, to have an LLC and then to create, all your tax forms and get registered with the state, it's not the fun, glamorous side that anyone talks about, but it takes a long time. And if you do go independent, it takes a very long time to get set up with vendors. So I'm sure it's not a surprise. Disney is the hardest. It is a couple month process of them evaluating everything. So not just the forms you fill out, but they do a full audit of your social media, your website, any type of documentation. So your letterhead, your invoicing, I had to change a lot of things, like my original logo, I could not do. It went against their copyright guide, even though I promised one of my friends is a copyright attorney and I did not copy infringe anything, but I had to change the logo and some of my like social media posts I had to take down. So it's a long process. And I think probably if you started that in the beginning before you had any of that established, it might be a little bit easier.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy to see. I mean, it's Disney. I don't I'm not surprised, but at the same other time, it's like, wow, that's crazy that they actually made you take some posts down because of infringement.
Yeah, and it's amazing because obviously you can't use Cinderella's castle. That's obviously a Disney image, but you also can't use any castle. So it's just interesting kind of what the rules are. And then now I see everybody like on Etsy and even Amazon sellers that I'm like, you can't use that. That
Yeah.
Mickey shaped head, you cannot use that. So
Take that
it's
Mickey shaped head
interesting.
down. It's so funny because it's so true. I feel like that is such a gray area because there's so many people that do those types of things on Etsy, and I was always like, "That's not allowed." Like, I know it's not allowed. I looked. I physically emailed them because Disney actually has an email that you can email to see if you can use their characters, and I physically emailed them, and they got back to me immediately with like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Okay. No problem. I won't do it."
I know, Disney is a huge company, and so they do have everybody, tons of eyes looking for these things. But I just also am a huge believer in karma, and I don't want that bad energy coming after me. I'm a small person. I'm sure they're not focused on me, but I also don't want to break the rules and have that
Sure.
negative energy come back towards me.
Sure, for sure. Okay, so now you are your own entity. What are you using? What kind of social media? You already said that you have a website. Like, what are you trying to do to start promoting yourself?
Yeah, so I started with Instagram just because that was a favorite of mine. And then I expanded to a Facebook group. I do have a personal website and then also an email list. So I am trying to hit everything. Um, I don't believe everything will last forever. I think we learned that with TikTok and that gave everybody a big scare. So I don't want to just be on Instagram. I don't want to only have an email newsletter. I want to be able to communicate with clients if anything should happen. So I try to go across all platforms and really You also have to be aware of who your customer is. So even though I focus on families, I also work with grandparents, and grandparents are not on Instagram, or some of them are on Facebook, but they're definitely not on Instagram. So I'm trying to cater to everybody that I can target.
For sure. How has social media played a role in growing your business?
So I would say the one most amazing, surprising aspect of this is the Disney agent community when you are not in the same agency, so you're not competing with them, is amazing. So some of my very best, closest, most supportive people on social media are people I have never met. They own their own agencies or are other agents, and we're not competing. There are millions of people that go to Disney. I don't need to compete with you. You know, we're not trying to go after the same mom, but they are so supportive. And so that has been a huge push for me, just in sharing reels and sharing posts and getting your name out there. It's just really been amazing. And that has been the most surprising part of this whole journey to me, is that it's just so supportive, the Disney community.
It really honestly is. It really is. I met some of my really good friends through doing this. So I can totally back that up 100%. So while Disney is one of, if not your main focus, you also offer planning for cruises, all inclusive resorts. How do you diversify your offerings while maintaining your brand identity?
So I really like to focus on specialties. So I am a Disney person.
Hmm?
I can tell you everything there is to know about Disney. I have gone on a lot of cruises. I haven't gone recently. I would like to, but I am not a specialty cruise person. So I really feel like that's where a team comes in.
Okay.
So for instance, I have a company Instagram, so Daydream Adventures Travel Co. Instagram. And then my personal Magic Making Mama is the Disney Instagram for that. We have Universal, we have cruise lines, and we have all inclusive. So I'm still working on finalizing which team members are going to be in charge of that. I'm trying to push my husband to be Universal because I just can't do those rides. So, so I'm trying to pull him on and onboard him. But I think really diversifying and having a specialty, it's okay not to be great at everything. So focus on what you want to focus. Disney makes me happy. Yes,
For sure.
cruises are great and relaxing, but I just don't get that feeling like I do walking down Main Street. So whereas other people do and they love cruises, so talk to them. They are the experts. We all have a team together. That's how I'm focusing on it.
I love that. Yeah, I remember somebody had came to me for sandals. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, listen, I would love to help you out, but I personally have never been to a sandals. So I am not the best person for you. And I'm sure, you could do the research, you can look at YouTube videos and all those things. But like you just said, like if my heart's not in it, it's very hard for me to
Mhm.
be able to help you because I really don't know anything. And I want to make sure you're having the best trip, even if that means it's not going to be me booking it.
I think one of the biggest challenges of being in business or being a business owner is taking a step back and seeing, okay, here's that commission I could get right now by booking this quick trip. Does it really make sense in the long run? So, could I book a trip for you to Sandals? And yes, you have an okay time. I didn't offer you anything extra. I didn't give you any type of advice or knowledge because I've never been. So, yes, I made a couple $100 on your trip. Or do I focus on those Disney trips where I know so much about it and I give you an world class experience and it was the best trip you ever went on and now you want to book for me every year? That is really, it's hard because I get that when you're starting out and you just want that commission check, but really to turn away a quick sale versus one that really aligns with your business.
How do you stay up with the latest travel trends and ensure your clients are receiving the best advice?
So my family loves YouTube videos.
Okay.
And there are a couple channels that are amazing. And like, yes, would I love to live right outside of Disney and just vlog every single day? That would be amazing.
Dream.
Right? So we love watching videos and constantly are making notes on the notes app in my phone. What food should we try? What new experiences are there? So I really like to do my research through YouTube videos and other podcasts of people that are in the parks every single day. Allears.net is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Disney food blog. Mammoth Club is getting a little bit like Universal, which is great for Epic because that is something that's just so exciting coming out now. So there's just some tried and true that I really trust their opinion on it. And so we're just constantly consuming information. And I go to the parks a lot. So I try to keep up with everything that's new. Disney just released the starting date of the new nighttime parade, so we're going. That's one of my favorite memories as a child is the nighttime parade, and I want to experience that with the boys. So we booked a trip and we're going.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun. Honestly, like hearing you talk and everything, it pains me a little because I'm not in that anymore. But honestly, like this whole channel is about being a money hungry mama. For me personally, being a Disney travel agent was draining me and my account because I was constantly trying to go. And for me, this money that I was making was going right back into my trips, which is what I loved and I wanted to do. But your girl's got bills and I got things I gotta do. I was like, I have to cut ties with this because I just want to live there. I just want to everything that you're saying, like all of those accounts, like I used to stalk them and I was like, oh, for sure. Like Disney food blog, that's what we look at every single time we're going for food. Oh, what is the food this month? What is the food this month? So I think that it's something to note that if you can control yourself a little bit and not be so much like me, this is an incredible job, especially if all it's doing is feeding your Disney trip going and those types of things. 100%, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this side hustle, or you could turn it into a full blown business like Tiffany, and then you could do even more with it. But that is the main reason. And I feel like it needed to be said for me because we're talking about it. And in my head, I'm like, should I have given this up? And it's like, no, I had to because my money hungry mama self would be completely depleted and have nothing. So,
Well, going back to really providing some kind of value for your customers. So, yes, anyone can go on to Disney's website and book a trip. You could go through Costco or Sam's Club and maybe get a little bit of a discount. Costco has a great ticket offer for Disneyland right now. But it is knowing how to get the better deals. So, for instance, we wanted to go spring break. We've gone spring break the past couple years. I did a price comparison. I looked at July. Now, granted, July feels like 1,000 degrees hotter than in April, but I also saved $700. So, knowing how to finagle the trip, understanding that you don't need to do everything. And I think that is my shout from the rooftop message to everyone.
yeah.
Disney does not have to be expensive. You can go and have the most magical time for minimal money. So, for instance, we go multiple times a year, which is really why I started this because I needed to find a discount. I wasn't slowing down. We're going. But there are different ways to do it. So, I have gone, oh gosh, now I'm going to test myself. I think my oldest has been 9 times, will be his trip.
Wow.
I've only once gone to all four parks in one trip. And that
Really?
was with
Yeah.
the promo they did last summer. And so otherwise, there are so many things to do on property that are outside the parks. Normally we do 2 park days. So last summer, it was our longest trip. We went for 21 days and we did 4 parks. Now, I did not stay in the bubble for 21 days. I stayed at an Airbnb because that is significantly cheaper than staying in the bubble. I love the bubble and I will do an end night or two in the bubble because that's a great way to end a trip. But once you start going and you start doing all this research, you find other ways to save money. So that's my biggest part is like don't be afraid of booking a trip because your neighbor went and it cost them $10,000. Yes, you can go and have an amazing trip and it's $10 or $20,000. You can also go and it's only $2,000 or $800.
Yeah.
It all depends on how you're planning things and what you want to do and what you want to take advantage of.
And this is why Tiffany's still a travel agent because I would go to all four parks and Universal and be like, what is wrong with me? This is where all my money is going. No, and honestly, like it's just hearing you say that, like it is so true. You absolutely don't have to do everything. I just don't have that personality. And I'm like, oh my God, this could be the last time I'm going. I have to go to everything. I don't know why my mind works that way, but it does.
See, now, here's the trick. Every time you leave, my husband will always say to me, "Oh, we didn't get to go on this ride." And I'll say, guess it's for next time. And so we've got that trip already planned before.
I love that mindset. I guess it's for next time. I'm like, grab it.
We're coming back in a couple months.
Oh my gosh. See, I'm sure if I had that mindset, I would be able to go in a couple months. But no, instead, I'm like, okay, this is it. This is, I don't know when we're coming back, like 10 days.
Yep.
We're going all in, all the parks. So, no, true. That's so true. I mean, it all is about mindset. I feel like everything is about mindset. And I'm so happy that you said that because it is honestly true. I'm also being, overly dramatic about this, but at the same time, anybody that's listening that really does want to go to Disney, I promise you, you can go on any budget. I'm not just saying that, you absolutely can. You need to figure out what your budget is, find somebody like Tiffany that knows what she's doing, and remember she is completely free to help you to figure out ways to make it work. Like, I just am ridiculous. Don't listen to me. It can be done. I personally have no restraint, but it absolutely can be done.
So my advice to anybody listening that's looking for a trip is a couple rules that nobody really talks about. Just because you get a quote from a travel agent does not mean you have to book it.
Does not.
Give them your information, see what they respond. If they don't say, okay, here's your ideal trip and here's the cost, but if you change this, you could save $500, have that be a little yellow flag for you. Obviously, maybe if you mesh well with the person and you really like them, it's great. But if they're not trying to save you money, it's not a long-term sale. And I get this question all the time is why would you save a customer money? You're getting less commission. I understand that, but I'm also giving value to the customer. And so not only am I giving them all this knowledge with my resources and guides and telling them what they can do and booking lightning lanes for them, I'm also saving them money, hoping that they go again. So
Sure.
every dollar I save goes into that next Disney fund.
I love that. Yeah, no, it's so true. And honestly, I'm just going to plug this here. And, just because I did it for so long, I think one of the hardest things about being an agent is when you don't tell us, hey, I don't want to do that. It is totally okay. It is absolutely okay to tell your agent, hey, honestly, I was not sure about the price and now seeing it maybe next year. Just let them know so this way they also don't come back and follow up with you. Just remember it's a business. They're not
Mhm.
trying to annoy you. They're not trying to pester you. It literally is because they just are trying to check if they should close out your account or if you're still going to come back. So don't take it personal if they're not trying to annoy you. I promise you. They're a business just like everybody else. So if it's a price range that's out of your price range, you can either say, "Hey, this price is way out of my price range. I can't do that. Is there something else?" Or, you know what, we decided not this year. But just let them know. I think that was one of the hardest things was, oh my gosh, do I text them again? Do you think they forgot? Or should I just let this go? And I am not good at following up. So it was hard. That was definitely an internal struggle for me. Like, oh my God, I don't want to annoy them. But at the same exact time, like, should I keep this tab open? Or so just let them know for sure.
I think that goes along with any business beyond travel agency is if you're not making your customer happy at the end of the day, they are not going to be a repeat customer. And yes, there's a couple industries that you can do, one and done and you can survive off of that, but I'm in the business of building relationships and I want repeat customers.
For sure.
My favorite thing is getting pictures year after year and like with my boys, we have the same picture on Main Street with their little Mickey caps on and seeing their growth. Like I love that we are growing together. Your children are getting older, you're getting more detailed with your trips, but I love seeing that growth. So what makes more sense? Selling them something one time at a higher price or lowering that price but having repeat business? And so I think that's a valuable lesson for any industry.
I love that. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. If you could give one piece of advice someone you usually pay for, but you're willing to give for free today, what would it be?
So my advice would be if you are going into independent travel agency, be prepared. It takes a long time. It is not personal when they come back and say they don't like your logo. It's not because you aren't creative, Jesus. It's the rules. But also, really, before you start any side hustle, what value are you giving to people? So, are you just going and doing transactions? Are you actually providing a value? So, for example, one of my biggest pet peeves is in Facebook groups, community Facebook groups. Someone will post, I'm going to Disney. What should I do? My kids are, 5 and 6. Hi, I'm Tiffany. Here's my group page. I'd like to book your trip. I'm not giving the customer any information. Or I can say, here's a reel on my top rides for that age group. I'd love to help you more. So you really need to think, what are you getting into that you have a passion for or you have knowledge on so that you can go an extra step? How are you differentiating yourself from all the other agents or all the other hairdressers or whatever you're competing against and giving something extra to your clients?
Oh my goodness, so true. So true. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, you've all seen it. Anybody that is listening right now that has a community Facebook group, your town's Facebook group, you've seen somebody say, "Can somebody recommend a travel agent?" And it's like, "I could book, I could book, I could book." And you want to stand out in a sea of sharks for sure. You do want to stand out. So I love that, bringing value to your post for sure. For sure. And also like, really do find your niche, right? Like just like everything else, like what are you bringing to the table that's different that's already on there? It's so true. Great advice. And finally, what does being a
Mhm.
money hungry mama mean to you?
So, money hungry to me means time hungry. So, my goal in life is more time with my boys. I do not want a 9 to 5 job. I do not want to feel guilty when I'm taking an afternoon off to go on a field trip. I don't want to worry that I'm missing a conference call because I'm taking someone to a doctor. So, money hungry to me means searching for whatever opportunity you can get that will provide you with the more time and independence to be home with your family. That's my ultimate goal.
I love it. I love it. It's so true. It's so true. You never like this morning was my daughter's pre-K 3 graduation. Imagine having a 9 to 5 and telling them like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be late." No, it's
Yeah.
just not.
No.
It's so true. It's so true. Oh my goodness, Tiffany, thank you so much for being here today. Where can our listeners support you?
So we are on Instagram. My personal handle is Magic Making Mama, which I'm sure you'll tag. And we have Daydream Adventures Travel Co. We are also on Facebook, Daydream Adventures Travel Co. And my website, daydreamadventurestravelco.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here. A wealth of Disney information. And for everybody listening, go check her out. And remember, if you just want to book a trip, she is free.
Yep. Have a magical night.